Hello and welcome to DDOCast episode 424, recorded live on twitch.tv/DDOcast on Sunday, April 3rd, 2016. I'm your fill-in co-host, Cordovan, Mock Duck, Jerry, and it's a privilege to be able to fill in for Patrick this week, who is doing house-related work that kept him off the internets. Thank you very much, Patrick, except I understand you may be hanging out in chat, so that's cool. That means that you can correct all my mistakes. Huh? What? So we are going to be talking this week a little bit about lag, a little bit about the news. We're going to show off some cool stuff. I got my admin logged in on Argo, and I've got by a Shavrith Archon point that you haven't seen. We're going to be hanging out, talking a little bit about live streaming, and I've got a special guest. With me is Evennote. How you doing, Even?
I'm doing well, but when do we find out about the special guest?
Well, you count. You count as special, right?
Cool.
All right, and I'm supposed to... Actually, I didn't even follow Patrick's notes. That's how terrible I am. I'm just awful about this sort of thing. So I'm supposed to, I guess, say I'm your host, Cordovan. Here's this week's screenshot. Yes, Celsius takes a break from the anniversary party at our 264th DDO screenshot of the week. We'd like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons Online nearly every weekend. You can watch us through Twitch, YouTube, the DDO forums, iTunes, or from the website at DDOcast.com. DDOcast is hosted by Cyber Ears, the awesome podcast hosting network. Shows are usually available within a few days of recording. The next show will probably be Sunday, April 10th. You can stay updated by following us on our social media pages or go to DDOcast.com. My notes are kind of rough this week because I kind of threw this show together, but at the same time, heck, I can kind of wing it at this point, and I know what I'm doing, so we are going to be showing some stuff. You know, back in the day, though, there was no Twitch, so this is still kind of a new environment for me. Check this out, though, huh? Pretty cool. That is... Oh, apparently you can see my cursor in the image. That's funny. Whatevs.
There you go.
How you doing? Cool. There we go. Hey, Virtual Gib, how you doing? Thanks for being here. Looks like we got a couple folks in our chat room. So what you're looking at here is an unused area. I showed this off during our 10th anniversary, but I thought it might make a nice backdrop for today's episode, which really is just audio. So if you're a video person, prepare to be extremely disappointed. But nonetheless, I wanted to put something up there rather than just, some text. So there we go. Kind of cool. And I might be flying around or whatever as sort of time permits and my heart leads me as it goes. So, Even, how you been?
I've been doing pretty well. How about yourself?
Not too bad. We're getting done with the anniversary and moving on to update 31. Had a bit of a Players' Council leak this week, which I guess I could talk about if we wanted to. We're going to talk about the news. Some of which is good, some of which is maybe a little less good, but I'll do the best I can in talking about it openly and honestly with all of y'all. So, I don't know, what would you say the biggest thing you've done DDO-wise this week has been, Even?
Well, I tried to farm some Wraiths in Fall of Truth towards the Wraith pet. I tried to... and I'm not going to explain why I'm laughing on the air. Tried to farm some Hellhounds out of Fire on Thunder Peak for the Hellhound pet. So I guess what's left is just to try to farm some Rusties because those are the only 3 pets I'm missing.
I'm excited that I got a couple of characters in the guild on Talanis flagged for Mark of Death. That'll be kind of interesting to check out in a more comprehensive way, so that'll be kind of neat. It's been overall a fairly slow week on the news front, although there are a few things to talk about. The first, and a couple of big topics, of course, too. But in terms of like news, not really a huge amount this week. The biggest thing is the 10th anniversary token distribution, the reward NPC, and the anniversary challenge event with related NPCs will be available through April 17th. If you want items from the anniversary event, get it now. It'll be shut off in reality, basically when the NetOps guys get into work and have a cup of coffee first thing on Monday morning. So probably our time, I would say between 8 and 10, maybe 11 Eastern. So if you're really like, oh my god, I've got to get it in the last minute, that is the last minute. But we're saying through Sunday, April 17th, just because of time zones and all that sort of thing. So that is it. How much does that mean? You're like, all right, cool. You give me plenty of time to get everything done, or is it like, oh my god, I now know what I'm doing every night until April 17th?
I'm in good shape. Even's got her boots, she's got her gloves, she's got her broccoli basher, and I've still got a fair amount of party favors left over, but I have been running that a lot.
Yep. I certainly have too, and I've been running it actually with you sometimes too. You've been helping me get this stuff farmed done. At this point, I think we're in really farm mode as a community on this thing. Now, I still love all the dialogue and little tricks and all that sort of thing, but this is the time where I think a lot of us are like, can I shave off another 17 seconds? If I can do that, then I can get, So, what are your tips for the anniversary event? Do you have a here's what you should do, even?
Well, you probably shouldn't go and collect every collectible the way I do, but, flower snipping. And I spent the TP for that ginormous bag, I might as well use it. If you have anything that absorbs all that stuff Steel Star throws at you so you don't get stunned, that's good.
Yep.
Some of it is really random, though. I did 2 back-to-back runs last night or the night before. The first run, he didn't stun me at all. I didn't need to heal at all. It went great. Second run, same difficulty. I spent more time being stunned than I did fighting and had to cocoon like about 5 or 6 times.
The general consensus has been low level over high level. Is that your expectation as well in terms of party favors per hour?
Well, I've mostly been running it either with you or with guildies, or on Even, who can mostly just kind of bust through there. If you can get a good low-level group, yeah, that's probably the way to go, and also having something to invis through the kobolds if you just want to run it really fast. Being able to invis through the kobolds is really, really, really helpful.
So in an ideal world, right? So I'm going to assume a lot of people listening here have got vet status 2, and so can easily roll up a level 7 character, within, frankly, minutes on any server that they want to. So if you were in that position, and I do think that there are quite a few of you out there, that means if you want the max reward of party favors per run, you need to run it at level 12. If you're all level 7, you all roll up 7 characters. If you can run it at level 12 easily and quickly, that's the best spot to be, in my opinion. That said, if you're like me and maybe you're running a lot more solo, or you don't have all the bases covered unless certain people are around or whatever, then running level 7 at 7 is a quick 5 party favor as well. So yes, you're losing out on a few party favor per run, but you can still do it really, really quickly. My recommendation is some kind of caster type. That's what I've been doing a little bit on the live stream, but there's a couple of reasons for that. One, you're mostly ranged. Stuff still has low hit points, so you can kind of take care of it. Stay alive that way. 2, invisibility. You can just get it on yourself so you can quick cast it all the time for all that kobold area with all the levers and such. 3, you've got like wall of fire and magic missile, stuff that will just damage anything. So the trick then, of course, is to stay alive, which maybe you have a hireling, maybe you got someone with you, maybe you just chug a lot of pots, or figure out a build that will keep you alive. But you can even do that at level 7 on normal within, say, about 10-minute runs. 10, 15
Oh,
minutes.
yeah, easily.
And so you could do 3 or 4 of those an hour, just solo. Now, if you've got a group with you, you can really lower that drop rate. Because I would recommend would be one person, perhaps that guy, go and do the kobold section. While he's doing that, everyone else take a boss or pair up and each take 2 bosses, something like that. Whatever combination works best for you. Max that stuff all done. By the time the guy's at the end of the kobold area, he talks to Jeets, you talk to Militia, boom, you can all go through the door. You're all set and done and good. Rinse and repeat. The other suggestion I would have would be let me try to think how would best say this. I was just going to quick also mention about how you get the stars, right? So you have to be in the group and in the instance at the time the star is earned in order to get the star from the event. I'm correct on that, right? I'm pretty sure that's right? So that means if you join someone after they've already killed all the devs, then you're not going to get the party favors for being in the group with them and then completing. I'm pretty sure that's the case. And that being the case, that is why I would recommend doing the run first while you're filling up a group or getting your friends in or whatever else. That way they can quick join you. You can all kill the devs together, all get the stars together and that sort of thing.
Hey, come on, you know you want to kill at least some of those devs.
Yeah. Yep. I agree with the person in chat saying you should run it at least once on every character because of XPs. Yeah, that's totally the truth. But I think at this point, like I say, we're now April 3rd. Got another, 14 days?
Yep,
2 weeks. Plenty of time. Plenty of time to get that stuff in if you want it. And I think at this point we're really just going for party favors per minute. I know I am.
Oh, I need to remember to go around on all my tunes and get their free item as well. I've still got a couple on Pilatus and most of my favor farmers left.
Yep, that is absolutely right. That is why this announcement was made this week. If you're going on vacation next week, you still have a week, but you have 2 weeks. So if you have any character on any server that ever wants to get one of these 10th anniversary rewards, and you have your token, now is the time to get it. Stick it in a bank, put it in your inventory. I don't know. Do whatever you want to do. And you've got until the morning of April 18th. Basically, anytime after midnight Eastern on the 17th, as it turns into the 18th, we could theoretically shut it off and you can't complain. Or you can, but we won't listen to you. But you realistically have till probably 9, 10 in the morning. Eastern time. People have to get their coffee. So.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk lag. The other fun topic of the day. So we've been investigating an issue preventing pretty much all access to DDO.com this week. Actually, that's not lag, but so let me skip that. We did work on Friday morning that we hope and expect will improve conditions in the game worlds. I say, under no circumstances are we claiming to have fixed lag. We are, however, hoping to make an improvement, and believe that we have made some improvement based on Friday's work. So the way that this process went is early this week on Monday or Tuesday, we had some downtime on the worlds, and we made a change on two worlds, and then changed to GLS to DLL. What is GLS? Global Login Server. DLL thing on all the worlds, because we had to do that to fix a transmogrification issue. How many times can you legit say transmogrification in a sentence? But I can.
I'm impressed.
Yes, there we go. So we did that for the thing. And then, so basically what we did then, we brought the worlds back up on Tuesday, and we had a bit of a double-blind test. You don't want to make multiple changes at one time to one world if you're not sure what the impact entirely is going to be on it, right? Because you don't know, you won't be able to tell if it's good, which one's making it good, and if it's bad, which one's making it bad. Pretty simple stuff there, right? So what we did then is just kept a really close eye on the worlds and on the forums, feedback, social media, Twitter, Twitch. Trust me, it was a very busy week, but in a good way. And figured out that the change that we made to Arganesson and Galanda had the most benefit immediately to the game worlds. It did not solve all the problems. There is still lag in the game. Particularly, there's some issues with larger size groups and raid groups, large guilds. Yes, we understand that there's still some work being done, but we do think that this made a difference. And so what we did is, and it made some difference on Atlantis and Sarlona, which had a different change, although it was less significant. And so what we did is we brought the worlds down on, what was it, Friday here? Friday morning here? And
yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and then applied all these things to all the worlds. This weekend, we are keeping a close eye on, say, monitoring the health of the game worlds and getting numbers and techie people doing techie things. And this Monday, we're going to come back and really dive into the lag setup and see what's left to do, what can we do, how much of an improvement did this make? Did this make an improvement? Were there other factors that were in play this weekend that, cloud that data, etc., etc., etc.? But nonetheless, we are working on it, and hopefully it's a little bit better than it was. What's been your experience, even?
Mostly I'm getting in full raid groups, yeah, and I haven't run a raid in a full group in probably about a week and a half, mostly because nobody wants to raid in a full group right now, because of the lag. The last time I did, it was dang near, I mean, we were doing EE, Master Artificer and Lord of Blades. We got through them. It was not pretty. It was not pretty at all. Short manning raids has not been bad. Just running around solo in small groups, pugging, stuff like that, that's not been bad. Getting, once in a while, I get a freeze up, but nothing like what a full raid group will do. And I was on DDO for quite a bit last night and was messing around with live streaming, which I'm sure we're going to talk about later. And the worst lag I was getting was actually, and this was one case where it truly was client side. My computer was protesting having a browser window open for Twitch and Open Broadcaster and DDO all at the same time because my computer basically sucks. But lag-wise, I wasn't seeing much at all.
I think that Friday's change did make quite a bit of difference. I still see some issues. There's some changes we can make right away. I have to be careful in the way I describe this because we need to have some operational security. And even if it's not going to do anything for me to just say all this stuff, it might. What if you do know what this stuff means and you know how to take advantage of it? So I have to be kind of careful in what I say about what exactly we did. But we changed some, if you would, for the technically minded out there, I could say that we did some adjustments on our RAM disk and we did some adjustments on our BW per client property and the server flags. Does that mean anything to you? If not, then you're just like, oh, we did things. If it means something to you, well, those are a few of the things that we did.
Yeah, I just heard we did things, and that's fine with me.
One of the large things we're working to do is making sure our routing is still rock solid. Particularly, we find or believe that people over in Europe, when we're looking at the Europe to US backbone, that there's still some optimization work that needs to be done there. And part of that also has to deal with some of the internet backbones to the new data center. There's a couple of different routes by different providers, and we want to make sure that we're optimizing those things correctly. I guess that's about all I can say about that. But we are doing some work. Some of that's not something that you can just flip a switch on, though. It involves a little bit more like, I don't know, lawyers getting together and changing money and doing contracts and stuff. So, but we're working on it. We are working on it. All right. Quick note also, DDO.com has been having some issues. It happened just in time for our fun thing that we tried to do on April 1st. DDO.com was basically borked for most of Thursday and Friday. And we made some temporary adjustments on Friday afternoon that should correct things through the weekend, which is now. We're going to be looking further into the cause and solution on Monday. And yes, we will be. At this time, DDO.com, sign up DDO.com, the DDO forums, and other DDO.com related pages should load without issue, and you can log in again. We basically had to, we moved all of our DDO stuff to the new data center. When was that? Early April? April 8th or something like that?
No, actually, April 8th still isn't here yet, so you was early March.
Oh, yeah, March 8th.
Second week in March?
Yeah. So whenever we did that, right? So we had to decommission the old data center this week, which means you absolutely shut everything down, and you pull all the stuff and put it in a truck and take it away. And when we did that, apparently there is still something that was touching some part of the website. And it was causing some problems, like you couldn't log in. And it pretty much made the website unusable Thursday and Friday. So we found some ways to get around it at the new data center, basically. But we still have some work to do on it. So it's still going to be a little up and down, probably in the next couple of days here, but hopefully we'll get it fixed. And the reason I bring that up is because on April 1st, we allowed the kobolds to take over the DDO forums. There were the kobold forums. We also had kobolds take over Facebook and Twitter, and I think they did a fine job.
Kobold not getting no shinies. Kobold, you didn't hear about this. Yeah. I do a terrible kobold voice.
Actually, that was pretty good. I thought that was pretty good. But so that happened, and that was a pretty fun time. It was kind of funny. One of the basic process was kobolds took over, like literally someone was RPing, that someone being largely me, as a kobold throughout social media like Twitter and Facebook. And so it was just, everything was announced as a kobold. Because originally it was just going to be a forum thing. Where we had the kobold forums. I set all that stuff up yesterday, thereby causing a leak in the Players' Council, but that's okay, we can get to that later. So it was just going to be a forum thing, but then we had these forum issues on Friday morning, so we couldn't really do it. And it was like, well, the window's only a few hours for these things anyway, right? So I was just like, fine, I'm just going to do this on Facebook and Twitter instead. I'll just pretend I'm a kobold on Facebook and Twitter the whole day. And then the worlds got up shortly afterwards, and so I was just like, oh, here's the test. Let's have the kobolds announce the worlds being open. And it just kind of snowballed from there. So it was a good time. One of the criticisms that I read about it on the forums was, how come they're doing this instead of working on lag? Shouldn't they be working on lag? The answer is yes. We should be working on lag, and we were. The reality is other than a guy like me, who was doing some live streaming and things like that anyway, kind of keeping a close eye on social media that day, was if you have, and this is something that I'm going to tell all you aspiring website producers and such like that out there, if you want volume, you can also get volume with it. Do you have a dozen friends? I bet you do. If you give each one of them an account and say, at some point between noon and 4 o'clock, I need you to make one post here. For 12 people, it all ends up being the approximate equivalent of 30 seconds, maybe a minute, maybe 2 minutes worth of work. And it looks really big. So that's how we pulled off the kobold forums, right? There were 10 kobold accounts, and I just sort of said, you. Just make a couple of posts sometime throughout the day. So the actual work done, the amount of actual man hours spent by each individual person to pull this off, other than me, was like 45 seconds, minute and a half tops. And so those who were...
You could have fixed lag in that amount of time.
That was the minute we were going to fix the lag. You're right. I mean, that was the 60 seconds that we were just like, what about... Oh my gosh, oh crap, I forgot I need to log in as a kobold. Now, where was I again? Oh crap, so... No, but that's actually, I wanted to bring it up because it's true, and it's something that we've been able to use a couple of times over the years to good advantage. And I know there are people out there like, say, podcasters and website folks, forum folks, who might be interested in doing some kind of mass thing like that. And the trick is to be able to spread it out and spread out the work. Because if we had just a couple of us and wanted to do it, then yeah, it would have been someone else's time also. But the way that we did it, it was really just my time, and my time was already doing online related things, so it made sense.
So it wasn't your turn to spin the anti-lag wheel.
Yes, that's true. That's true. I didn't cause lag, I don't think, this time. So
we'll wait and see how this will fall out.
Yeah. Right. So we could talk a little bit about that Players Council leak. You're on the Players Council.
I am.
Yeah, and so. Over on one of the third-party websites, someone had posted up a bunch of, like, just here's a screen grab of some Players Council threads and things like that. Here's what they've been talking about. They grabbed my initial comment on a lag post, and there may be some other stuff that I haven't seen out there too that gets into a little bit more detail. And some people wondered, oh, great, this year we're now 3-on-3. Every year there's a big Players Council leak. And yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, one of the things I think if you're going to have a more open council like you do with the Players Council is you have to do that with the expectation that, yeah, you know, there's only so much you can do to prevent someone from leaking stuff, and maybe you should just deal with it, you know. So that was really what happened there. But the thing is I think it was actually my fault. Because when I was setting up the Kobold forums...
And ignoring the lag.
And ignoring the lag. Yeah. When I was setting up the Kobold forums, I had to set them up quickly. And because the Players Council forums are set for, like, one user group only, that user group being, hey, you're a Players Council member, I wanted to clone those forums for the Kobold forums, so that the Kobolds could only post in the Kobold forums. And the reason I wanted to do that is just in case someone figured out how to hack a Kobold or whatever, they couldn't cause any more trouble than only in the Kobold forums itself, which is perfectly fine. So I cloned all the permissions of the Players Council forums, but then of course I had to have the big thing, which is everyone else can read it instead of just being a Players Council member. So then I did that additional work, but as I was doing that, I hit a back button a couple times too many, and accidentally made an adjustment on the Players Council forums, which was everybody could read them for exactly 2 minutes and 15-ish seconds, and that's all it took for someone to notice it, grab some screenshots, put it on a forum somewhere. I think, unless someone from the Players Council truly is leaking, which is another possibility, I suppose. But just given the timing of it, the coincidence seems like it was probably my fault for causing this particular leak on the Players Council forums. But overall, I don't think there was anything that was really all that sensitive or anything like that, so I think the information that got released was probably fine. One of the big things was there's a little bit of information out there about the upcoming Fighter Kensei, which we were going to give to you anyway last Thursday, except DDO.com's been having trouble. So
yeah, because that post has been up for what, a week or so
you
now,
would have,
so that was going to be going live soon anyway.
You would have seen it anyway. You would have already seen it had we not had this website issue. So anyway, that's what that happened this week, though. But it's part of it. Whenever we get a leak in the Players Council, we do have to remind the devs that even though the point of the Players Council is to have kind of a kind of like a focus group, like organization, but a place also where we can speak more candidly and openly and honestly with a back and forth, not that we're not honest and open, but that you could just say, this is, you can have more of a back and forth if you don't have to worry about every single thing everyone says being blasted out all over the place and judged. You know what I mean? And so that is one of the big things about the Players Council. And so it is unfortunate when we do get these leaks, but it's not entirely unexpected. We knew that when we went to a more public sort of Players Council that one of the likely outcomes of that was we were going to have leaks. And just got to have to deal with it. So that's pretty much the plan is to deal with it. So. I could mention that we have a new stream schedule on DDO Stream. We did put together. We've had quite a bit of shifting. You know, a couple people had kids and had to take paternity leave. And congrats to both of you. I hear both those kids are doing good in their respective homes. And we also had a couple news shows, and we just have had a couple people come and go, which is normal for this schedule. But we did put together a new schedule, and as part of that I put together a new forum thread. And the idea of that forum thread is that if you're doing a weekly recurring show, comment in that thread, just post a little blurb of information and the URL. And it's a sticky thread that's now being kept up on the DDO forum. So it's a one way to hopefully get the word out about recurring weekly shows that are on Twitch right now. To hopefully, because one of my things is I'm really trying to get people to have a better sense of when can I see people stream, when can I join chat rooms, because some of it's about watching people play DDO, and some of it's just about hanging out and chatting with other DDO people, and Twitch is great for that too, if they can find you. And so that's why we have that forum thread. So you can get in touch with me, and I'll do whatever I can to help you. But you can also go to that forum thread, post in it, just say, hey, this is my show. I'm streaming here real soon. I stream 2 o'clock every Sunday afternoon at twitch.tv/ I stream on twitch.tv every Sunday afternoon at 2. And hopefully it'll all work out. And you started streaming there even.
I just actually got that figured out like yesterday, literally yesterday, and people who know me will know how appropriate this is. The main reason, I mean, I've had the software for ages and I've kind of messed with it and never really done anything serious. And I've had a couple people say, come on, you don't really have 92 cosmetic pets. Yeah, really I do. So I'm actually going to stream that, bring them all out, put them all through their tricks, and let people see that, yes, I really do have 92 cosmetic pets. And everybody's like, man, she needs a 12-step program.
Well, someone's got to have them all. I mean, it's important that someone know.
I still need the Wraith, the Rusty, and the Hellhound from the Monster Manual, and that will be all of them.
Well, hopefully we can help you achieve those goals. I did want to read a couple of comments from the Twitch chat. Virtual Gibbs says, Kenneth lag has improved for the most part. However, Legendary Shroud on Friday night was still very brutal. Yeah. I myself ran a bunch this weekend and did do a little bit of raiding, including a Defiler Adjust raid of all things. And overall it went okay, but yes, there was still some lag that we have to deal with. DDOCast says, here's a question. With all the work being done on lag in the DDO website, what does that mean for the next update timeline and depth? Ooh, that is a very good question. Probably one that we won't know for another couple of days yet at least. Ask me in 2 weeks. What kind of impact it had. But hopefully not too much, because a lot of this, at this stage of development of Update 31, you're largely in the design ideas stage, which has been impacted a little bit because of, mostly because of our ability to preview it to the Players' Council and the general public through the DDO forums. But also a lot of it is just the raw work of content creation, building the walls and dungeons and scripting and mobs and setting up the generators and all the stuff that goes into it. And they've been largely able to work, for the most part, uninterrupted. There have been a couple of days where the data center migration did mess with the internal development build, and that does sometimes have an impact on work a little bit, but it's only been a couple of days, and overall we're in pretty good shape for our current kind of rough timeline on Update 31. So for the most part, as of say Sunday, April 3rd, I would say that all the lag and website work has had a minor impact on the timeline and depth. In general, it maybe has meant that some people who would have worked on X instead had to work on X, Y, or Z. Severlin in particular, I could say, for example, has had to do some work on at a franchise director level, related to lag in the website and things like that, rather than say do some of the engineering work that he knows how to do and has done in the past. So I wouldn't say that it has had no impact, but at this point, it hasn't had a real significant impact because the majority of the work was able to take place anyway. Quick reminder on a couple of other shows. DDOcast here has got DDOcast Splat. That's Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time at twitch.tv/DDOcast. Are you kind of doing even your own sort of regular schedule? It's too early for that, right? You're just kind of still learning how to do the whole live stream thing.
Yeah, I actually spent in the wee hours of the morning, I spent 5 minutes testing things, trying to figure out why my Twitch stream wasn't live when it actually was. Those are probably the two most boring videos on all of Twitch right now.
So let's make it easy. I'm going to provide Cordovan's largely unintelligible guide to how to do things on Twitch. Version 1.0.
Where were you last night when I was trying to figure this out?
This is just to help someone out there. It's like, I sure would like to Twitch. Now, where do I get a Twitch box? Here's how you do it. So what you're going to need to do is there's a couple of live stream websites out there. Twitch is probably the most prominent right now for video games. You can also go to YouTube, Ustream. There's a whole slew of them. Hitbox. There's a whole bunch of them out there. We're going to talk. This is going to apply to most of them. Have got some variation on this. There's going to be a little bit of work that you may have to do for one that you won't have to do for another. They may have some slightly different standards in terms of how you create accounts and all that. But being as Twitch is the most popular, we're going to focus a little bit on Twitch right now as of early April 2016. The other thing I would mention is that one of the big hang-ups when people first say, well, what do I need to do? Is so you're going to need a Twitch account. That's easy. You just go to twitch.tv and create one. You need to have an email address. You can have multiple accounts with multiple emails. For example, I have a personal account for MockDuck. I've got one for Cordovan, and then we also manage, as part of the community role is to manage the actual turbine and sort of DDO stream and, everything else that's being managed corporately on Twitch. It's not just me that works on that, but I'm one of them. But you can do that. You can have multiple accounts with multiple emails. But you can't have multiple accounts on one stream, except for as we're going to outline shortly, which we will actually quite shortly. The other thing I would mention then is that you do need to have some stream software. And the two most common right now are OBS and XSplit. XSplit got in early with sort of Twitch, and I don't even know if they're really how they're corporately tied together, but they're basically philosophically tied together and have been since Twitch took off. It's about $60 a year. It's about the price of a video game a year if you want to get a license. I'm lucky that I work for a company that has corporate needs to do this stuff, so I don't have to pay for my lovely XSplit license, which I'm thankful for almost every week. But if you want to go the XSplit route, and you have that kind of cash, or maybe if your website or show is seeking a professional quality enough that you feel that kind of investment is worth it, then I do think that XSplit's the best way to go. Only because it has paid support, right? The advantage of something that costs money is that means people can make a living by working on it. They can you can hire professionals to do things, which you can't always do, although OBS is really, really great as well. But if you can afford it, I would recommend XSplit still because it's a standard that's being used everywhere, and it's pretty easy to use. I would recommend XSplit Broadcaster over XSplit Gamecaster unless you only have one show. If it's only you, for your one show, and you don't want to get complicated on things, go with the Gamecaster. But otherwise, I really, really do recommend the Broadcaster because it just offers a lot more features that you may run into as you're starting to do your show. There are, I would mention this year as well, a whole slew of new ones that have come into being. I mean, I went to TwitchCon this year for professional reasons, and the number of startups that are just like, we're also like XSplit, we're also like OBS, we're also like, X, Y, and Z, and here's our plugin, and this is what we can do for you, and now you can do it on an iPad, now you can do it on a cell phone, whatever. There's a million of these things out there, and there's a wall. They're coming any week now. The live streaming world could well find itself upended and completely under a new paradigm. That's the way it works. But at least as of right now, a couple others that I might want to recommend. If you don't want to use OBS, and we will talk about OBS in just a second, one I've been beta testing called Infiniscene.com. It's an in-browser streaming solution. So what it is it allows you to broadcast directly from, say, Chrome. You don't need, say, a third-party app like XSplit or OBS. It's in many ways very similar to those programs. It does have its own little quirks. They are in beta, and as of right now, there is a free option for it. I don't know ultimately how they're going to monetize. The quality is really high, though, so that might be an option for you as well. There's one called Screens that just came out recently that offers all sorts of broadcast-style solutions. So if you, say, for example, have multiple cameras or something like that, you might want to look into that. And the number of them is almost unlimited. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on and on, but I'm not going to. The other big one is OBS. That's the one you have been largely using, right, Even?
Yes, because I am cheap and I'm actually shelling out some money now for our DDO's hosting. So right now I'm not going to spend money on broadcasting software, especially since I'm still figuring it out.
Yep. What's the big benefit to OBS? It's free. Free as in always free. Not free as in free, but then you can pay us money, or free as in anything but free, 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 free. It's an open source program, and as such it is wonderful for being that. Because it is an open source program, because it is being done by people's time, on their own time when they can, you don't always have the level of polish that you would on XSplit or whatever. So it can also be, at least, I have to admit, I have not used OBS a lot, but I found the process of setting up an account and hooking up a Twitch stream to it to be fairly complicated and difficult. What was your experience like?
Like I said, I downloaded the software ages ago and just lack of time really didn't get around to messing with it until I got this idea to do, pet videos, and then it was like, yeah, we're going to stay up all night and work on this. One reason it wasn't that bad is that I do have a lot of friends who use it. So it was really easy just to say, hey, what the heck am I doing wrong here? What do I need to do here? And yeah, if you look at my Twitter feed, you'll see some of those questions that I couldn't get answers via email, so I just threw them out there on Twitter. And yeah, I figured out how to put my little logo over the chat box so people can't see my chat, which is, good. Our guild chats get a little strange sometimes. So.
Yep.
But yeah, it's live streaming now. The biggest this was driving me nuts last night. Even when I'm live on my Twitch control panel or dashboard or whatever it's called, it tells me I'm offline, and that's really a Twitch thing, not an OBS thing. But yeah, other than that, I thought it was fairly easy to use. Yeah,
I have to admit that XSplit has got its little quirks as well. Sometimes you'll start up a stream and it just won't start, even though it says it's on, and then you'll try to toggle it off and on again, and it just magically works. So there are a few, we still are in many ways the early days on a lot of this stuff, so you are going to run into your things. But there are a lot of alternatives out there, and I'm not even going to start to get into plugins and all that, but it's out there. The ability for someone to do a multi-camera live stream from several people's desks around the world in an hour is so much higher than it was even just a couple of years ago. It's kind of incredible. And so it really does offer a lot of opportunity to people who want to get their word out and all that sort of thing. One of the purposes of DDO stream is to I sort of think of it, and I know that some people would find this derogatory, but I don't. I see DDO Stream as being a little bit of a public access channel for DDO. And by that I mean, if you want to watch DDO and you want to watch live streaming, where do you go? You should probably go to DDO Stream first. But I also know that there's a lot of people out there that are streaming on their own channel, and one of the hardest things to do as a live streamer is to get people to watch you because they just don't know you're around. Or maybe they're like, I want to watch DDO, but I don't know what's on right now. And so one of the advantages of DDO Stream is I want to get people's shows on that people can tune in on and then find them for their time slots, for their shows, for their live streams. So people can start to learn these sort of viewing habits that Twitch really provides that's maybe a little different than your on-demand world and all that sort of thing. Although a lot of this is on-demand now as well. But I still think there's something with watching it live. So... what else should we mention? So we talked about the software. We talked about creating an account. The process of hooking your game to it is actually quite easy. I have found that, in my experience, you're better off running windowed, just because it's kind of a pain to try to Alt-Tab out and that. But if you're an Alt-Tab master, then you can probably stay logged in if you want to. It's largely just a matter of saying, yes, put this on the screen, and then resizing it. And I understand OBS is a little bit weird in that regard sometimes as well, but overall is not too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problems I've had is my monitor is actually my game window, and I run windowed, I don't run full screen, is 1680 by 900, which is a little bit wider than the 16:9 ratio. And when I try to put that into OBS, it tells me that I'm not Twitch compliant, so I switch it to 16:9. I'm noticing the very bottom is getting cut off. And the other thing is to remember to unmute my mic. When I was in Fall of Truth last night farming race, trust me, it was scintillating commentary. It was awesome. But I had forgotten to unmute my mic, so you can't hear any of it on the video.
I know, I have done that too. I could go on a little bit about that. Largely, you're going to load the elements into XSplit or OBS that you're going to use for that show. Some of that stuff you can do on the fly, but for the most part, you want to get as much of that sort of done as you can beforehand, because you tend to find when you're actually in the middle of it, it's a little more complicated than you often have time to multitask and do. So, I would recommend that you load up your audio files, your screenshots that you want, that kind of thing, and do it beforehand. Otherwise, it's really just a matter of show notes. The more prep you have, the better off you are, but it kind of depends on the kind of show that you're doing. If your show is just one where you're playing DDO quests and just sort of lounging about, probably don't have to worry about a lot of that sort of thing. I don't know. What else should we talk about in terms of trying to help someone just get started on Twitch? You are going to need to learn how to use social media. You have to at least learn how to use Twitter, and probably others as well. How do you get people to watch your show? By providing compelling content. I know people have often found that they don't like to listen to their own work, or at least they profess not to, or whatever, but I find it's necessary. And this is something that actually goes all the way back to my old radio days, where it's hard enough, you're just like, do you want to listen to yourself on the radio? No, but guess what happens when you do? You learn things. And so, if you're doing a show, and you can't get through the first half hour of your own program, that probably is telling you something. Get to the point, perhaps, or fix a technical issue, perhaps, or whatever it is that's keeping you from watching your own work. That's what you're going to have to deal with. Your show will be better if you take some notes on your own work, flat out, and you'll see that work improve week after week.
Oh, definitely.
I agree with DDO Central. Probably create a Twitter channel just for your show, unless people feel like, John Smith is a famous enough person that they can just find you. The reason for that is largely about naming, right? If you're the the iStream on Friday cast, you want to get iStreamOnFridayCast.com, and your Twitter handle should be iStreamOnFridayCast. That kind of thing. And so, I don't know. Technical equipment. I back in the day, I'd say you should get microphones and everything. That's back when headset mics were crap, and people had little tiny little plastic microphone stands that would go in front of their monitor. But nowadays we live in the world of Logitech headsets and all the rest, and all that's basically pretty good. So I wouldn't worry too much about audio equipment. If you want to get into audio, that's a whole other topic that I think we could save for a different day. You probably want to go USB with whatever it is you're using, just because USB is widely used. That way you can just plug and play that sucker into whatever else you might need to use. Generally, the more
I
money.
don't know. I'm using a pretty cheap. I'm using earbuds and a microphone from Five Below. If you're not familiar with Five Below, it's called that because everything is $5 or less.
Oh.
So I'm not exactly using high-tech equipment, and my computer is circa 2007, and not really. I mean, the biggest problem I'm having is the computer does not like having DDO and a browser window and OBS all open at the same time, and it lets me know about it sometimes.
Interesting. Well, yeah, it sounds all right. Certainly for less than $5, that'll get the job done. So, do you need a website?
I can go get another one.
Do you need a website? I don't know if you do. If you're looking at live streaming, you're generally, at least as of right now, the primary outlets for live streaming is Twitch and YouTube for video games or any kind of geek culture related thing. For a lot of wider world use, Ustream still has a lot of popularity, but far, far less so for gaming and geek culture. And I don't know that you need to set them to your website. You can, but I think if you have a quality enough Twitch front page or YouTube front page, that's good enough for your website for now. I wouldn't worry so much about that at this stage of your live streaming game.
Yeah, because that kind of becomes your website.
Yep. The other thing is I often hear, and I could just touch on this a little bit, is, okay, well, how do I make money doing this? The answer is you probably don't. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that hadn't even occurred to me.
But here's the thing is I went to TwitchCon, and there were a bunch of people who I'm like, and yes, I'm an old guy, so that counts for a lot in terms of me not knowing these things. But when I walked in, there was like a meet and greet section, and I was like, I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. I only recognized one or two names there, but there were long lines of people looking to sign that guy's T-shirts and stuff. So there is an opportunity out there for a very small number of people. Can that be you? Maybe. It depends on the quality of your work. I think in general what you're going to want to look toward if you want to make money is partnerships, sponsorships, things like that. That'll come with the people. The people is really what's important. If you're not pulling in, say, 5,000 listeners a week, then there is no money. There's no money. And 5,000 is not impossible. If you do start to get those levels of numbers, then I would look into things like perhaps some banner ad revenue, possibly introduce a couple of commercials, things like that we can talk about later. But don't worry about... The reason I bring this up is to tell you not to worry about it now. When you're first starting live streaming, when you're first doing a show, I know a lot of people are like, okay, I'm going to do this and then I'm going to start making money on it. And the reality is you're not until you have that audience. And you're not going to get that audience until you have a good quality show. So really just focus on making a good thing and getting the word out about it. Learn those steps, learn the practice of finding this sort of thing, and then taking advantage of it that way. But there are some minor options if you do find yourself in a rare position of having, let's say, 5,000 plus listeners a week. There may be some things that you could do, and but it's not going to pay your mortgage. Most likely. Unless you live in a place with mortgages in the maybe several $100s a month, then maybe you could pay your mortgage with it. But otherwise, you're
Might buy an
pretty
airship
much, yeah.
and pay your DDO
Yeah.
mortgage.
But it is possible to make a little bit of money to hopefully offset the cost that might be associated with doing your live stream show. But none of that's going to happen until you have a decent sized audience, and that's really going to happen with just building a quality show. So. What are the other, I guess, any major topics from the community that feel we should talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts of live streaming and how to do it? I think my personal opinion is to get to it fairly soon. You do need a couple minutes of just sort of making sure all the things are on and everything's sounding good. But I believe it's still best to have some kind of, here's a start. Here's where, and make that not too long after you start streaming, hopefully within a couple of minutes. You can also please do highlight your videos if you're going to put them on YouTube and Twitch. You know, we don't need to watch that 5 minutes of you getting set up. Just trim that sucker out, put the highlight together so that people can click play and largely go right to the start of your show. That's my recommendation there.
Oh, I should do that so at the start of that Fall of Truth video you don't see me standing in front of the entrance to the quest gabbing on about how I'm going to be farming wraiths and I need this money more for the pet. And of course, since I forgot to turn my mic on, you're not going to hear any of that. It's just basically even standing at the quest entrance.
Right.
Yeah, I need to highlight that.
And that's pretty easily done in Twitch, for example. There's just a highlight button. You'll click that highlight button and it'll be kind of a start and end tab. You'll just slide that over to where you want it to be, and then you'll click the save changes button and all that, and then it really takes care of it automatically. And then what you can do if you want to get that onto YouTube is you go into that video or the highlighted video, or you go over to the highlights section of your Twitch stream, and there's just an option to export that video to YouTube, and that's how you'll export it as well. Otherwise, I think that's probably going to be a decent introduction as to how to live stream. Oh, I guess I could mention one other thing, which is, well, what do I actually, what's the secret key? The secret key is called a stream key. It's what allows me to be streaming from my computer onto DDOCast instead of DDO Stream, for example. In both XSplit and OBS, there's going to be a section in the settings, probably like under Add a Channel, My Recordings, General Settings, things. There's going to be a place where you're plugging in that stream key to associate it with your channel account, like DDOcast or DDO Stream. You're just going to copy that long stream key into that thing there and authorize it. You'll probably once have to do the username and the password of your Twitch channel, and then it'll associate, authorize, and then you may only have to do it if something gets changed in your computer or whatever. But that's the big secret ingredient. The stream key allows you to stream to whatever channel that key is associated to. So how we do it for DDO Stream is I give all those streamers an additional stream key, and they'll create an additional channel on their software program of choice to stream to DDO Stream. Or they'll just drop it in every time, whatever they want to do. It's really pretty easy. And so you'll just go and, if you want to change that, like say when I want to switch back to DDO Stream, I'll just put in the DDO Stream key and then reauthorize it, and then we're good to go. So that's really, I guess, the big secret is you'll be using that software program along with the stream key to stream to a channel. All right, let's move on. We have a little bit of movie news that I thought was kind of interesting. Exclusives, according to trackingboard.com, which is an insider movie sort of newsletter website. Goosebumps director Rob Letterman ready to play Dungeons and Dragons at Warner Brothers. Exclusive.
Ooh.
Goosebumps director Rob Letterman is set to direct the highly anticipated adaptation of the iconic role-playing game Dungeons and Dragons for Warner Brothers. Sources close to the tracking board have confirmed. Letterman will be working from a script by Wraith of the Titan scribe David Leslie Jones, based on, if you know what D&D is. The film is being produced by Roy Lee of Vertigo Entertainment, along with Stephen Davis and Brian Goldner of Hasbro and Courtney Solomon through Sweet Pea Entertainment. John Middleton will executive produce for Vertigo, while Alan Zeman will executive produce for Sweet Pea. Kate Adams and Drew Crivello are overseeing for Warner Brothers, while Coral Wright and Josh Feldman will oversee for Hasbro. Solomon did direct the 2000 Dungeons & Dragons adaptation for New Line. And sources say producers are eyeing a Vin Diesel type for the film's lead characters.
Well, did they think of actually getting Vin Diesel since he does actually play DDO? Well, Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't know. I mean, I should mention here that I am an employee of Warner Brothers, so I have to be kind of careful about what I say, but I also don't know anything. So I don't have to worry about letting some secret slip because I know no secret. My understanding is just what little I know about Vin Diesel is the price tag associated with his valuable time, because he is a busy guy, is quite high. And I suspect he might be out of the price range of a Dungeons & Dragons movie. But I could be wrong about that. It would be awesome if he were in there. Just a quick note, last year Letterman steeled R.L. Stine's cherished book series Goosebumps into a solid $150 million worldwide against its estimated $58 million budget. And that also plays a large role in these kind of things, right? Because if they're making a D&D movie, they're like, this is how much it's going to cost, and we need to make at least X. And so having people on board who have consistently been able to do that is a real important thing. So people often get like, the guy from Goosebumps, well, I don't want D&D to be like Goosebumps. Well, you don't have to worry about that, right? That's not what the director does. He isn't Goosebumps, he's a director. And he's a director who managed to turn a $58 million budget movie into a solid $150 million worldwide film. And that's the kind of thing that I suspect Warner Brothers is looking for when it comes to how do we launch a Dungeons & Dragons movie. Assuming Peter Jackson's not willing to work for free on it, and, Ian McKellen's not like, oh, heck yeah, I'll do that, $20, so, yeah.
Peter Jackson could make Lord of Kobolds movies.
Yeah, right. Letterman got to start working in animation. He did some writing and directing credits include Monsters vs. Aliens and Shark Tale. That's cool. So, I don't know anything about this movie. It sounds great. I would hope, it would be awesome if DDO was able to work its way into something or other, whether it be even a DVD box code or something like what we did with the original D&D movie on Blu-ray. But I don't know anything about it. It's all happening sort of beyond the realm of
I'm thinking
Turbine
like
here.
a little promo video for DDO on the Blu-ray or DVD. That would be awesome.
Yeah. yeah, that would be cool. I don't know. That'd be awesome, though. I'm looking forward to the movie. I don't care if it's good. I don't care if it's bad. It's just fun that it's being made, and I'm going to enjoy every minute of it. So,
Yep.
Whatever, haters. Hate on. All right, let's see. I didn't get any commercials done because I'm having a problem with my Windows 10 machine reading CD-ROMs and DVD-Rs, which is what I have DDOcast backed up on. Sorry. Otherwise, I would have played a commercial right now. Let's see. We are +2 loot through today. So if you're getting +2 loot boost, what's going on? Our store items through April 7th. We have 20% off stat tomes, skill tomes, tomes of learning, and Harper Enhancement Tree. The freebie's a lasting potion of jump +20 times 5. That's a pretty good one. Comes in handy.
Yeah, even can always use that.
Yep.
And, tomes.
Looking at the Chronicle 184, Raccoon is welcoming new players to Orient. It's a really nice introductory post, I thought, in response to making Orient the default recommended world for new players. Corrupting has created a video walkthrough for the Anniversary Challenge event. This is a really nice, I think it was like 5 to 8 minute long YouTube video just running through the Anniversary Challenge event if you want to kind of figure out how to do it. It's spoilery, but it'll also give you some good tips. I would recommend it. And you can find a link to that in the Chronicle for 184. High Lords of Malkir are still doing their Saturday night raid nights. That's pretty much every Saturday, starting at 9 p.m. Eastern. They pick a different raid on Sirlona every week. And that's a place for new raiders or people looking to learn how the raid or people looking to brush up their skills can join them. It's a cool weekly thing they do. Guildhall this week is Stars of Chaos. They're from Kenneth, growing, open to players regardless of level. They're player friendly. They sent in an email saying, hey, we'd love to get featured. So there you go. Contact Morceran Nailo. That's Morceran. Nailo, Nailo, in-game to learn more. Stars of Chaos on Kenneth. And Chaos is spelled Khaos, Khaos. Question of the week, how would an air elemental light a candle? I don't know. Not easily, that is for sure. Is it possible for an air elemental to create sort of a, balance off their own air on their own fingers to create a little sort of pocket of no wind, and then take a flame and sort of direct it into that little pocket?
I'm thinking you take a flamethrower and have the air elemental stand at a distance and waft the flame towards the candle.
Oh, that's true. Oh, yeah. They could do it. They can. You have to have one candle lit already, though, pretty much. So, yeah. I'm just checking our chat. All right. Okay. Fansite news, DDO Players news, talks to the data center. They also did have a recent interview with Kim Robinson, if you want to find out more about that. That's the voice of the Kobold Lady. DDOcast offers a new guild feud. Damsels of DDO run Veil at Twilight. You can find them at damselsofddo.com. Unheroics head into Spies in the House. DDO Gamer celebrates broccoli. You find out you're largely unkillable. This week even. You pretty much just sat there taking lots of damage and not dying. Except eventually you did die.
Eventually I did. And then there was much drama going on a blog about that. But yeah. And that was taking off my armor, taking off my shield, standing there and letting things pummel me, not healing myself at all. And finally got the brilliant idea to fire up the video capture software. And that was pretty fun.
I should just say, sometimes, I would expect that whatever it is that the combination of things you're using, probably is not going to last. We're probably going to have to fix that, just because, the whole I can't die is kind of a tough one. But nonetheless, you also built that character to be very unkillable, and that turned out really good for you. So.
And keep in mind, you've run with Eve, and you've seen what she does, and she does not use that when she is actually trying to live. It just didn't even realize I had it on until it was keeping her from dying. I actually, if you haven't seen the video, I actually wanted to die. We had given up on the quest because we were trying to 3-man fire on Thunder Peak. I had grabbed the aggro of both dragons. We couldn't separate them, so we couldn't damage them. So we kind of gave up on it. I was trying to recall out. I kept getting hit and I couldn't. I was surrounded, couldn't make it to the door. So I thought, I'm just going to stand here and let them kill me. It didn't work very well.
Nope. All right. Otherwise, Friendly Necromancer is back from playing a bit of DDO, and he's got a blog post that you can find in the Chronicle as well. Friendly Necromancer ended up taking a position similar to mine for Wizard 101 for a while, and I'm not sure if he's still doing that or what his exact current employ is, but he's cool, and he has a nice DDO blog up for this week. Let's talk shop from the Chronicle. We're still looking for your feedback on lag and your current game experience. We do have a forum thread, like I mentioned. Please go see that and post in it if you would like to give us some good feedback on lag. We really would appreciate that. On Fridays at 5 this week, I ran Caught in the Web. I had a full raid group on Wayfinder. Part of that was to get a sense of what the lag might be like after our work on Friday, and part of it was just to do it on Wayfinder, to run a raid on Wayfinder because we could, and Caught in the Web nonetheless. And we did it. It went well. It was cool. It was a lot of fun. Let's see. What else do we have? Axel has 5 interesting DDO monsters. We'll have a link to that in the show notes. Tactilicious and Craftalicious looks a little bit at random loot. DDO Gamer has some lessons from the Shroud. Bonnie Bew has a Pink's First Shroud. That's a YouTube video.
That
And
was a great time.
oh yeah, you were there too. What is that?
Yep. That was Judy Nazareth. She's in Japana's Guild over there. Her 12-year-old daughter ran her very first ever Shroud. And they invited a couple people to come along, so I rolled up a tune over there. Oh, we had a great time. Very little lag, actually. We got the completion. I believe Jeff was the first to die, and he also had some issues, sword envy issues that maybe aren't suitable for, public chat.
Yeah. What else did you run this week?
What else did I run this week? Well, we had necro flagging. Ran around. We 3-man Hound. A couple of guildies. The fact that we found Hound was to me like a major victory right there.
Yep.
And I'm really kind of enjoying it. I've run the anniversary party a lot.
Yep. Yeah, this guy actually figured out how to find the Hound of Zuriat on his own.
I'm proud of you because I had to follow other people to get there. I have actually found VOD on my own twice. And someday I'm actually going to do that on purpose, and it's going to be so cool, and I'm going to be so proud.
Well, it's one of those things
kind of accidental. I was farming planar shards, and it's like, holy crap, there's VOD!
Eventually, you cross this threshold where it's like, oh, wait a second, I actually know how to get there now. And I think I have to thank the damsels of DDO for that wolf pack Hound of Zoriat, because it was fresh enough in my memory of how to get there that I was able to do it. So, in a year, I'll be totally screwed. Let's see, what else? What did I run? I did a lot of anniversary stuff. It's particularly on Kyber. I've got I'm getting real close to getting the armor. I'd really like to get the level 30 no worries. I've been turning in anniversary rewards this week on just about everybody. I just a couple more servers to sort of do characters on. What's been your default? Mine's tended to be the quiver of alacrity, although I've also tried to do 10 commendations of heroism on quite a few people as well.
It's really kind of varied. I really probably should look into a 12-step program. I've got 19 tunes on Thalanis alone, not counting my free-to-play account. And scattered around the various servers, I actually, I'm nerdy enough to have a spreadsheet for this stuff. I actually have a total of 60 tunes. That's including my free-to-plays and my VIPs. And the ones that I've actually turned in, their tokens so far, a couple of the melee types have taken the Sword of Shadow only because, even took that only because the very few times she's seen it drop, she's always lost the roll for it. My favor farming lobies all took the 100,000 XP, so now they can a little bit more easily favor farm. I've taken the comms on a couple. I think I took a quiver on my druid because I forgot she had TR'd from a ranger into a druid. But mostly it's been either the XP or the comms or the Sword of Shadow.
And what in particular do you think you'll be using those commendations for?
I don't know. I mean, there's maybe upgrading Dragon Touch, upgrading Caught in the Web items, because I had some, in fact, when we had the Raiders reward boxes, I had tunes who took the items, but some of the tunes have the items and thanks to the boxes and have never run the raid or have any commendations. So now if I can get their favor up, they'll be able to upgrade them and make them a little cooler.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. I myself also ran. So you and I did a bunch. We were both flagging for Mark of Death, and that's nice. Which was cool because I hadn't run some of those in a little while. Yesterday, or was it Friday? No, yesterday we ran Inferno of the Damned and
Temple of All.
Yeah, Temple of All. And earlier on Friday, we had run the two others, Doomsphere and Fleshmaker's Lab, Ghost of Perdition. And overall, it went pretty well on all those quests. We were able to handle them pretty good. I think those quests are still a lot of fun. Still a lot of good stuff to get in them, too. Even some of the loot was pretty great. I got the scale armor, the medium armor, that I can't really use right now on a guy, but it's bound to account, so well worth taking anyway. And yeah, like I said, otherwise it's been a lot of anniversary stuff, and then frankly I've been working late. nights this week because of all the lag and needs to do that. So I did a lot of. I mean, this past week I did as much raiding. What I would do is I'd start like on, I guess it was Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night. I picked a couple of servers a night. I would log into those servers and I'd look at the LFM. I'd see if there was a raid group being formed. If there was, and I had a character I could run it with, I'd log in and run that raid. So I took a couple of raids on just about every one of the servers, and then I also did a couple of pickup groups, a couple of anniversary groups, things like that. I tried to get into larger groups because that was where you could get the best sense of where the state of the lag was in game, and that continues to be the case. So I'm over the coming days, I'm going to be doing some pugging because that's a good way to get a sense of this stuff. I find so. Any other kind of plugs here before we wrap things up here, even?
None that I can think of. I'm really not conceited enough to plug my blog right now.
All right. Someone also saying they took a couple of Year Dwellers. Yeah, that one's a really good one too. I did take the Sword of Shadow on a couple of people as well.
Actually, I need to take a look at that because that may be something that's really good to glamour as well.
Yeah, yep.
You remember seeing, might have been one of our guildies. I remember actually pulled a real one from the raid, and it was I think that's the one it was just a really, really nice looking sword.
Yeah. Frankly, there's a lot of glamoring possibilities with the anniversary loot, at the very least. If you want to use one maybe on a character that you don't really plan to play so much, but you might want to glamour a bound to account item on. So, all right, I think that's going to do it largely with the show. What we can look forward to in the next couple of weeks is we will be getting that Fighter Kensei thread out onto the live forums. Within a few weeks here, we'll probably start talking Lamania a little bit more. Hopefully you'll get a preview of some of these new quests and stuff that we have the content team working on. We'll be working to improve lag. We largely have got all the data center work behind us, so at this point it's just optimization, things like that. We'll be working on getting the website stabilized in the next couple of days. We have bonuses. Producer's letter, I've been asked a lot about that in recent days because it's the start of April, but I don't think it's going to be for a little while yet. Probably late April to mid-May would be my guess, but we'll see. We'll get that to you, as soon as we can, as soon as it's ready. And
well, that's pretty cool because I remember I've played DDO for more than 5 years now, and this is the first time I even remember there being any kind of regular producer's letters.
Well, it's normally been a yearly thing, but we're right now in the process of shifting it to a quarterly one. So some of the patterns are being disrupted a little bit, but we're doing our best on it here. So, but hopefully we'll get that out. I think we're kind of. There's been some thought about maybe largely coinciding it with game updates around the same time, if not at the same time, we're not getting out update 31 in the next couple of weeks. So it's, read into that what you will. All right, thank you.
Click the like, do the producer's letter, get the update out, give us new content, do it all.
Yeah, we do have plans on that, and we will be working to get that stuff out to you as soon as we can. This lag is an unfortunate situation. We do apologize for those who have been having some rough times in game. We do understand, we do appreciate it, and we appreciate your reports over the last couple of weeks to help us get this sorted out as well. All right, that is going to wrap up DDOcast episode 424. Thank you very much, Even, for joining me this week. Thank you
very much for inviting me.
Everyone who listens to the show, current DDOcast contributors, Turbine, Wizards of the Coast, Cyber Ears. Hit us up at DDOcast.com for show notes, MP3s, calendars, previous shows, swag, and other good things. Want to be part of the show? If you have a comment or have a question that you would like to answer, you can email us, ddocast@gmail.com. Again, ddocast@gmail.com. You can find them on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and the like for the latest cast updates. You can find out more about DDO at ddo.com. You can follow me personally on Twitter at twitter.com/jerrysnook. I largely keep my Facebook private. And you can find DDO at DDO Unlimited, both on Twitter and Facebook. Closing tip of the week is from CDBD III on Thelanis: deconstruct early, deconstruct often. So until next time, may all your attack rolls be crits, and all your chests level appropriate. Have fun, and don't forget to gather for buffs.